Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of the Dave Neal Show. And as you know, this is my third video now discussing the edits, the omissions, and the deception that we're finding from the Dateline interview that Amber Heard did with Savannah Guthrie this past Friday evening. Now, there are several glaring omissions from the Dateline NBC interview that we've already showed you, but in this video, you're going to have to stick around, guys. Trust me. The big omissions, they're very subtle, but I've always told the truth was deleted. Okay, I've always told the truth is what Amber said. That was deleted. And then also, she vehemently denied leaking information to TMZ. That part was deleted. Those are very interesting. This might be her legal team setting her up for what happens next if they do an appeal and information they don't want out there, which obviously it's out there. I mean, God forbid they call me to the Fairfax trial. I'm showing up, waving to people from the corner. Who knows? Who knows? The world's strange. I don't want to go. But this information's out there, right? The internet never deletes anything. As we know, there were at least 3 days of lead-up trailers, teasers, clips shared on the Today Show, and also Dateline NBC had previews leading up to the interview. So much wasn't shared in the final product. We're going to piece it all together. So stick around. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals, and also private Patreon if you want to donate or be a part of our private community. Go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. I appreciate all the new people that have been out there. You guys have quadrupled our following just in the last 5 days. So thank you all so much. Now, this was sent to me, a Word document, check this out, that highlights all the different, now hold on, you don't have to read it yet, I'm just teasing this. These are all the different moments that, the highlighted parts is what was seen in the Today Show version and the Dateline version. So I'm going to share with you guys some critical moments of, so thank you to Joe, for sending this to me. She sent it to me, and I think the Umbrella guy and a few other people. She literally transcribed all the things that were shown and not shown. And some people will say, hey, Dave, not a big deal. You got to edit things for time. Well, a lot of things that were edited out of the Dateline interview weren't for time. And we'll prove that. We'll show it all to you. So my first video is now at 1.4 million views. And this was just a quick clip as we watched the sync go in and out depending on what they decided to show.
Emotionally and physically, you don't have the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white.
You don't have the luxury of saying, hey, this is black and white, versus you don't have the luxury, you don't have the resources that say you or I do with that luxury of saying that this is black and white. Do you see how that was just completely taken out?
Have the resources that say you or I do.
So the part was taken out, so whenever anything's taken out, especially something that's a quarter or an eighth of a second, it makes you wonder, like, did Amber's legal team have some sort of final edit, or her lawyers got involved and say, well, you can't air this? But obviously the cat's out of the bag here. So that went down, and then that video was shared 1.4 million views. Now, my favorite independent journalists, Sagar and Crystal Ball here, she was on Bill Maher's show this past Friday. They have a great program. If you don't watch it, it's called Breaking Points. They left mainstream media. She was basically like fired from MSNBC, and so she's a left-leaning, he's right-leaning, and they have really great conversations. They didn't mention my video by name, but this is what they had to say about the internet calling out all of the BS we're seeing on the TV.
The amount of actually good information on YouTube is stunning. I'm learning this about everything. If I want to learn about my health, I go to YouTube. If I want to learn about whatever, some of the smartest people who convey information are all on YouTube, bypassing all of the traditional means of communication. Well, so, I sent you that video about that guy who caught NBC editing the Amber Heard's most recent interview. You wouldn't learn that from the media.
Thank you very much, folks.
These people are experienced.
These are my heroes. These are good people. Crystal more so. I like Sagar, but Crystal is kind of like, my hero. Anyway, so then we made a second video. Real quick, right into it.
I made a pledge, and that pledge is made over time by its nature.
You're splitting hairs a little bit there.
Now, so she said you're splitting hairs a little bit there, but she said it only in one version and not the other, which to me, I understand they're going to edit for different things for time. So I posted that on Instagram, and then it's actually really funny. I showed the time, the time codes like we're showing now, and I had this comment here: splitting hairs doesn't change the meaning of her answer or the follow-up question. They took it out for time. Today's show segments are shorter, which could be the case, but then why do we have all these things they shared in the Today Show segments that they're no longer sharing in the Dateline segments? So I understand her thought there, but she didn't see all the other receipts that we have. And by the way, that's a Real Housewife of New York who's apparently Dutch royalty. We have Dutch royalty commenting on our videos now. What world, what simulation do we live in? All right, so let's jump right into the goods here. I've compiled, thanks to Joanne, who sent me the Word doc, some of the biggest moments from the interviews that are not being shared on the Dateline NBC version. Let's go to the full screen here. So top right is what was seen on the Today Show, and then the bottom left is what was actually aired on Dateline NBC. Also, I could do a whole video on color and how they aired a brighter version on the Today Show for the morning crowd versus like a darker, more serious, version in a different score. We could just have dissertation after dissertation on how they want us to feel a certain way, when in fact, in the room, it's just a conversation where you can hear the air conditioner going, there's sirens in the background, and it's two women having a conversation. It's 2022. Can we just watch two women having a conversation here without the dramatic coming up? We don't need Lester Holt coming up next on the blah, 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 blah. But that's the world that they live in. All right, I'm going to play the moments. If at any point one of the screens goes blank, that's because that was omitted from that version. So let's just watch. And again, these are like 3 or 4 very big glaring moments where she doesn't talk about TMZ. Previously, like I showed here, they deleted the part where she said, "I've always told the truth." Why did they delete the part where she said, "I always told the truth"? Because if she goes to an appeal and they can prove she lied, then she's lying. You know what I mean? Oh, boy. All right,
There was another trial, handled it dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in.
Okay, so that first part, this is the type of deleted frame that's just like fine. So I will admit there are times when a frame's deleted and it's fine. The first one's that. Watch the second one.
Trial, handled it dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in. In fact, my evidence was largely kept out. Really important pieces of evidence kept out. Done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Stupid music.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from
Amber's lawyers are like, let's take that part out. She's like, why? They're like, because you're talking trash about us.
From the real issues.
All right, so that was the first part. So I hate that they're deleting the parts where Savannah Guthrie is pushing back. That is important in the interview because Savannah Guthrie is asking questions and follow-up questions that are questions that we're all asking as an audience. So they deleted that part where Savannah pushes back.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things throughout my relationship. I behaved in horrible, almost unrecognizable to myself ways. I have so much regret.
Deleted.
I freely and openly and voluntarily talked about what I did. I talked about the horrible language. I talked about being pushed to the extent
where I didn't even
know the difference between,
Again, for the commenter on Instagram who said that the Today Show version's shorter. Why did they keep it in the Today Show version but not the final version? Don't make me get all X-Files on you guys because we'll do it. Like, what the hell's going on?
Right and wrong. I will always continue to feel like I was a part of this, like I was the other half of this relationship because I was. And it was ugly and could be very beautiful. It was very, very toxic. We were awful to each other. I made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. But I've always told the truth.
There's a text message.
So they deleted this. I've always told the truth. Does this not crack anybody else up? Dateline. Are we doing an interview or are we creating theater arts? What is it?
But I've always told the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Okay, so they deleted the part where she says she's always told the truth. And as we know, she lied in the UK and in Australia. They're both potentially pursuing perjury. How's that for some alliteration? She lied in the UK. She said, I donated, I pledged. Well, I pledged to donate. Okay, yeah, let me tell that to Sally Mae. No, I got my loans covered. I'm pledging to donate my student debt. They're like, did you pay it? Well, I'm pledging to. All right, next part.
I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. And I think that this trial is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok.
So then all these little clips, if you look on the timeline, these little black bars here are just moments where they edited out brief moments, but nothing substantial. So I didn't really include that.
And the jury is not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this.
Deleted.
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying, burn the witch, death to Amber.
Now, people didn't like this on the internets. Isabel Orsini said, I attended the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. Here's the truth. Corporate magazines still suck. Oh, she's got that nice skinny bitch, bitch wing photo there. Good for her. Living her dream. Let's just go down here. She said, Amber will also tell you that she had to drive past 6 city blocks of people holding death to Amber signs every day for 6 weeks, and that people had to be shoved behind barricades to prevent them from running at her car. So I want to focus the rest of this on what exactly was going on outside the courthouse, because that is where I spent the majority of my time there. All right, if we're talking about believe all women, I guess we have to talk about believe in women that were actually there, like Isabel. So Isabel said, look, no, that's not the case. She didn't travel 6 blocks. That's what she says. She said she Google mapped it. It's 2 blocks. She said on the first day there were 5 fans. On the last day there were 500. Things did not pick up until after Johnny had finished his testimony, and that's when everything started to go viral, obviously, because all the wild stuff came out. There are only 6 real city blocks in all of Fairfax, and Johnny would only drive past 2 of them. I knew this because I hate large crowds, so to avoid them and have a moment each day where me and Johnny would actually make eye contact, I would stand at the intersection of these blocks with the OG people I had met in the first week. I love that. She picked the perfect block to make eye contact with Jack Sparrow. People did figure out where these intersections were eventually, but even on the last day, there were only a few dozen people there. Not a single person at these intersections ever had a sign for Amber for one simple reason: she did not go the same way. So she didn't even, okay, so people immediately pushed back on that, saying, look, no one had any signs. And if you can't prove that, it's like, it's just more, it's more gaslighting, really. So they cut that part out of Dateline. All right, let's go to the final part here. This whole part was shown in the Dateline preview, but deleted from the final edit. I tried my best. I don't have any research teams. I don't have any assistants. It's just me, your boy over here, in a tiny 2-bedroom apartment. But I tried my best to find that footage. I couldn't. If you have it, send it to me, DM me on Instagram, wherever. Go to daveneal.net, find my email. But this whole section was taken out. And again, to our friend over there who said, well, the Today Show version is a lot smaller. This section was in the Today Show version. Several days later, it's not in the Dateline version. And I think we're going to find out why. Roll the footage.
The decision to stand up for myself and protect myself. You can't get a restraining order in private, which of course I didn't understand the night when the cops were called.
An employee of TMZ testified at court and said that TMZ was tipped off about when you were going to be going to the courthouse and on what side of your face bruises would be apparent. Did you tip off TMZ?
I was going to say, he certainly didn't get tipped off by me or anyone in my...
Did anyone tip off TMZ?
Why would they? No.
You asked no one to do that?
As I testified to before, it had nothing to do with me. There was another trial.
So, why did they remove the part where she says she didn't tip off TMZ? Is it because somebody at TMZ could go on the stand if they do an appeal? Again, not a lawyer, don't know how this works. But could someone from TMZ say, she absolutely tipped us off? We have the records of that. In which case, she's proven again to be lying. Now, these are questions we're asking that we don't have all the answers to, but we're watching this play out. We're being fed two different things. People are pissing on our legs and telling us it's raining. Let me know what you guys think about all this. I really appreciate all of your support and help as we kind of navigate all this information. This is what the internet's for these days. We're just trying to hold people honest. All right, folks, we'll talk to you later. Everyone have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.